Brother Marco, really appreciate you sitting down for this conversation, man. It's been a wild 3 months,
Yeah,
and I'd love to hear and just kind of get the broad story of kind of like where you were at in your personal, spiritual, professional, development journey, and what was life like before the Belief Mastery Accelerator?
yeah. I'd say that I'm in a uh, quite expanding spot in like in spiritual and through like awareness, let's say lens. Since that I was focusing myself more on the what or like the mm, goals and stuff like that. And not that I eliminate those areas of my life. Like I have certain goals that I want to met and other things. At the same time, it's more of being now lens. Like I I'm expanding my awareness instead of focusing on only the material side of things, which wasn't my goal in the beginning. At the same time, I'm enjoying the process of discovering my true self instead of like meeting certain standards that weren't mine. I mean, it wasn't me, you
That's
know?
right.
Yeah, yeah. So I can totally see the spiritual and personal upgrade, like discovering more my true nature, my true self, being more at ease and navigating the life with all those interactions with people, more um, calmer and really enjoying the time with people instead of be like focus on not being like how you say I was navigating the life through fear before, so I was more like into the defense mode, you know. Right now I can sense that my place of starting the interaction is more natural, and if I don't feel to interact with somebody, I just flow on. It's completely different, the perspective right now. So yeah, it's been a ride.
Yes, it makes tons of sense, bro. And originally you had thought, I want this program to be focused on making as much money as possible, right?
Hmm.
And you said something that I think is really brave to say, which is that uh, up until now, there's been a lot of unconscious motivation through fear.
Hmm.
And there were ideas and programs and beliefs that, well, the way that I make myself good enough is by making more and more and more money. What was your transition like deprogramming from those fear-based motivations and stepping into the presence of your being?
Yeah, exactly. I was operating from a fear-based beliefs, paradigm, programming, and it was like my necessity to make money. And not that now I'm not making money, it's simply that it's it's not that important anymore. I mean, if I have enough to stay in peace, to live in peace, it's okay. And I found out that in my perspective, like I'm making money anyway, even without the pressure, of I have to make 20K or I'm nothing, it's completely different right now. It's more about the sensation, like how I feel right now. And I feel calm. I still have money that is stacking up, so and it's not a problem, like it's not a perception of I'm not operating through the scarcity paradigm, you know. It's more like, yeah, money is there, so I can take it. Just have to figure out how, let's say. At the same time, it's not that important anymore. You know, my definition of abundance, it's shifting a little bit into not having like stack of money, like savings, like money can save you. How is that possible? It's more of doing what I want, with whom I want, whenever I want. I have a lot of free time right now. I can work a lot less, and I'm not involved in a job that I wasn't enjoying. I was doing only for the money. Mm-mm-mm.
That's brilliant. And I'd love to highlight this as part of your story, which is that, you know, you were feeling really unfulfilled in the sales career. And
Oh yeah.
a part of that is the company culture that you had uh, you know, participated in and whatnot. But a part of this too, and as we did our work together, it really became clear that you have a deep desire to be of service and to help people and to take
Mhm.
the genius, the research, the experience that you've built up over the course of decades and channel that into um, some kind of service that helps. And so you started doing that. And so what was in the way of that previously that this program unlocked for you and made so much more easy to finally make the jump and get started?
I would say that I was focusing on the perceived external, like having money and having my names up in the sales ranking, let's say, instead of what I want to do, what I want to do, what Marco wants to do. And I wasn't even like considering the fact that probably I would love to do something different. Okay, so during and after the work, it became clearer and clearer that I wasn't, as you said, fulfilled with that job. It wasn't like, was empty in my perspective for myself, and the result that I was trying to get was only the money. Whereas you can have the money and be fulfilled and leave the job that you have, like your activity that you choose, actually, with pleasure, with enjoyment, with joy, and with love, like welcoming the feeling of love. And so I switched and I started to be more involved in the, let's say, coaching, for a lack of better terms. And I started to do that once a week with a small group that is growing, let's say, and starting to put this perspective more into the company, like without taking out the sales um, culture, let's say, if they prefer so just not like interrupting anything, but adding my perspective, like, yeah, we can do that, and we can do that as a service for the people, like giving them actual help more into the personal, like the feeling, the mind, the spiritual you want. And it's starting to grow that in the company as well. Like someone is asking me for private sessions as well. And like, I'm not doing this in order to have the approval from the company. As doing that, I am doing that because I like it, I enjoy it. And if they approve, it's a bonus, it's something more. It's not that my goal. Whereas before the work in belief dissolving, I prefer to say, were more, I was focusing on the approval. I was focusing on, I want them to like me, you know? And right now I can say more things, and I'm not interested that much in the reaction, even if the reaction is good. So That's key. Like I'm not interested, and that's why I can I can have more impact with the people in the company, my family. So yeah.
That's amazing, bro. And
Mm.
you're kind of already transitioning to my next question, which is magnificent, which is like, what were some of the real tangible results that you felt and experienced? Like, there's this shift away from being motivated by proving that I am good enough and et cetera. There's this removal of the, well, I'm doing this so that people like me. What else have you noticed in your experience that's tangible before and after the Belief Mastery Accelerator?
Yeah, I can totally like sticking to my daily routines. We can say like the maybe the people that are watching is familiar with affirmations, journaling, and meditation. And before that, I was like, I have to do this in order to be good, you know? Right now, it's more, and I don't even question myself. It's like, okay, right now I want to do that, and I do that. And funny enough, I'm doing it more consistently than
Yes.
before. I have my perfect day wrote up. I write that, my everything, you know, all the that stuff. And having more time, I can do that without like, okay, I have from 7 a.m. to 7:30 to do my affirmations and my meditation and rush into it, trying to do the stuff that you have to do. And right now it's different. It's more, I have more time, so I can do whenever I want during the day. I can enjoy my daughter's company more. You know, my little one. She's 3.5, so I can enjoy more the time with her and stay with her. And this is really, really something that before that kind of work was more like I have to stay with my daughter a little bit because it X, you know. Right now it's more, oh, there's my daughter there. Let's stay with her a little bit. Let's spend some time together. Let's do some activities together. Let's play a bit with her. And it's more natural, you know. My life is flowing more natural, more and more. And I don't have to force stuff because it's supposed to. This is how a man like me is supposed to do. I'm doing stuff, enjoying, which is
Yeah.
something really key in my situation where I was before. It's simply that you meet the same results without this outer and inner pressure that you are creating for yourself and like learning from outside. And yeah, it's really interesting.
I know exactly what you mean, man, and I can relate to that. And I'm curious from your perspective, you were in the group training program and you got to kind of see what it's like to witness other people go through their process. And at the same time, facilitate yourself using the sovereign mind method to dissolve similar beliefs, if not the same one. Can you speak a little bit to what your experience was like attending the actual group calls and yeah, just what was that like for you?
Oh yeah, I actually prefer in a way the group setting since that you can witness other people and work through them, which means that sometimes there is one attendee that has a similar or even a different approach to the same situation named problem, which doesn't exist.
Yep.
But yeah, but you have a similar or a different, and you can see that from their perspective, and you realize, like you spot, like you turn the lights on your awareness on that topic or that area, even if it's not closely related, that really accelerate your understanding and awareness of that situation, and you can work through them having multiple results. Or you can, like, if in some cases there were something that you were working on with other people that wasn't something that I could relate to in any way. So I was taking notes in order to understand how to really like dig into the process of dissolving limiting beliefs. So I did on myself the same process through during other days for other situations. So I started to multiply that. And as you know, I resisted a little bit in the beginning and during, since that this kind of transformation wasn't my goal in the beginning, and then I accepted it, and turns out that it's better, you know. So I can have the same without the stress.
Right.
You know, so yeah. So the group setting is really, really, really useful, and accelerate, like literally accelerate your awareness, your growing, your training.
That's it, man. Yeah, I totally
Mhm.
get it. And when someone is watching this and they're on the fence, they're like, can I just as a regular person, as an entrepreneur, can I actually dissolve these beliefs and does the change last? Like, should I make the investment? Like, what is it? Is it going to work out? Is it worth it? What would you say to someone in that position?
Yeah, I was in the same spot, and um, surely you can try it on yourself first, like with the resources that you provide to the people. Even the ebook. I mean, even the ebook is something that you can try it on yourself. Surely it's better with a facilitator. So if you get the chance to work directly with Gladius, it's way better. Let's say it's the results are exponential, since that your own blind spot, especially in the beginning, are something difficult to spot since they're blind. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, the investment is really, I would not say cheap, but it is in a way that you translate it in what you can get for whole life. I mean, the investment is gonna like repay 10 to 100 folds. You know, it's uncountable. And I would totally recommend it. Even there are two scenarios that I can see. Like one, you go exactly where you wanna go, and that's fine. Since that maybe you don't have the problem that I have of having probably all my life expectations through the lens of the fear and paradigm. So maybe it's not your case, so it's even faster. Or second scenario, which is really good, it's a really nice place to be, it's having the awareness of, okay, so now I get that my paradigms are all through the fear lens, and you switch it. And it's not painful, it's simply a different path. It's not something that you have to like question yourself or stuff. I mean, I had a resistance, a counter intention, let's say, but it lasted just a little while. And one more thing is that this process is amazing in finding a lot of, like, you can really go deep. Even if I was doing therapy and stuff like that for decades, and even if I had a monthly program before that that was going deep, I had I had the chance to remove a lot of, like, we can say, like dust around other areas that I wasn't even considering, and had the courage to speak about some problems that were like I can say in my old perspective were too personal. And that was the real key in my transformation because my counter intention were actually the defense of my self-image. Let's say I
Yes.
don't want to go in technical. That my perspective, I'm not yet a technician in this area, but what I perceived was my inner self-image that was trying to defend herself since I was projecting an image that was not aligned to those problems that I was not um, I was not prone to talk about. We can say that. Okay. And after that, there were an instant relief. Even only talking about those aspects and then working them through the belief elimination or dissolving really like take a weight off my shoulders, and this weight translates into power, into energy. And I started to make a lot of content. I started to really take the fly, you know? So
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And that
Thank you,
was
brother.
really, really important. So yeah.
Mm, that's great, man.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
I feel like that's a perfect note to conclude on, unless there's any other thoughts that you might want
Oh
to
yeah.
share.
Yeah, since that this thing that it didn't go as I was planning and it went perfectly at the same time was like I worked on an addiction that a behavior that became an addiction through the years that someone can refer to as an addiction. And I don't want to say that it dissolved completely. At the same time, the approach on this habit, right now, I'm not engaging in that habit since multiple days. I'm not sure how many, I'm not counting them. And days, it's not a benchmark to work on. It's not that. But speaking of results, it's the my mental approach on that. Usually, when you leave addiction behind, you have to constantly watch yourself and not engaging in triggering events or stuff like that. And I went through multiple triggering events, and I had the chance to engage in that habit multiple times. So it's not the fact because I could engage in that habit in next days. It's not that the point. The point that I was trying to make is that it's my inner approach to that same topic that changed. Okay, so this is really important. And speaking about this, there was this aspect that I wasn't considering, and it's very important since that if you have some goals, an addiction can, of course, like moving your attention in areas that you don't want to go. And my inner, like, not inner, like my biggest problem that I had in my life, we can say not that it's gone, but probably it is. Again, it's a matter of you have to just let it flow a little bit more. But the perspective that I have on that problem is completely different. So I can watch it without feeling all that shame and all that guilt that I was feeling before. That was actually a weight that I was carrying, like trying to live the life and meeting goals with all this weight was not useful. So yeah.
Heaven, yes. I totally can relate to the habit and the weight that gets put on our own shoulders by our own hand in association with that habit. And when that's not there, the beautiful thing is that that whole experience becomes less emotionally charged,
Mm-hmm.
and the external events that would trigger that emotion, and that emotion is linked to that behavior, and so the emotion triggers the behavior, well, suddenly there's no emotion there, it just dissipates. And so There may still be some urges, some impulses to participate in a behavior that's old and familiar, but the strength of that impulse goes down from a 10 out of 10 to a 2 out of 10. And
Yeah.
so we have so much more free will to choose differently in the moment. And the beautiful thing is when you're a sovereign mind and you have the method available to you, when you notice that energy come up, we can make the choice to, ah, okay, so there's another aspect of this that I can resolve, that I can manipulate and dissolve if I choose.
Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah,
Wonderful.
absolutely.